Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nadine and I have lived in China for the past 10 years and I like to make vlogs about our everyday life in China, things that we do here, what life is really like here. And recently I started a new series where I go back 10 years and I share like storytelling with you guys about what my time was like when I first arrived in China, because of course it was very strange to me, it was very new to me, everything was new. I tend to believe I was extremely closed-minded at the time when I had arrived here, and everything was new, everything was strange, and I used to write about my experience and my journey. So I thought I would share that with you guys so that you can see what life was like when I first got here and my experiences, and compare to my recent videos of what our life is like now. So let's get into it. Today is going to be episode 3, and this one is called My First Night in Shenyang. If you haven't seen the first 2 videos, I suggest that you click on the playlist and watch the first 2 videos of my arrival in China. So let's get right into it. So we drove around, never exceeding 40 kilometers an hour, and I was rather skeptical about Mayna's driving skills. She looked completely lost, and she kept stopping in the middle of the road to consult her GPS. She had no idea where she was going. I found this rather strange because I felt like usually a person would know their surroundings in the place that they live, but who was I to judge? I don't know. I was just so tired, I just wanted the night to come to an end. So finally we stopped and Mayna asked me which bag I needed. I had 2 large bags. I had this giant pink luggage bag and I had another one. So she asked me which one I needed, and I told her, well, I kind of need both, as both bags had things in them that I needed to use that night. So I also thought to myself, if she thinks for 1 second that I'm gonna leave my bags, everything that I own in China, in her car overnight, she was sadly mistaken. And then she said, okay, we will come back for the bags. Now, I want you to take note that I am from South Africa, and where I come from, you cannot dream of parking your car somewhere and leaving your personal belongings in the car, because they're gonna steal everything you own and possibly just take the entire car. So that's why I was like dead set on taking my bags. Now, just a little side note here. I remember that the next morning when we had gone back to her car and we were in the parking lot, I remember walking past a car and you could see like a laptop bag on the back seat of the car. And I remember thinking that is so weird. Like, you just leave your computer in your car. So I think for her, it was nothing strange to leave all the bags in the car, because no one's going to break into the car and steal the things here. So it's definitely much safer here. I just wanted to add that. So I got out of the car and we now had to cross a 6-lane road. And by the look of things, pedestrians did not have right of way in China. So Mayna grabbed me by the arm and there was another girl and she said, "We will protect you." So it made me laugh a little bit. I don't know why. So we slowly ran across the road. We were super careful not to slip on the ice. And we finally reached the other side. And when we stepped into the hotel lobby, my heart just sank into my chest a little bit, because this was not the hotel that I had in my mind. You know, when you think of a hotel, you have like all these like images, and this was not what I had expected. It seemed more like a motel. There were a lot of Chinese being spoken for obvious reasons. And after a short while, Mayna was handed a slip by the front desk lady, and we went upstairs, and the first room next to the stairs would be mine for the night. So when we entered the room, I smelled something funky, okay? Mayna then said she would come back to give me the code for the wireless so that I could connect to the internet, and then she left. I stood there for a bit looking at the beds, and I walked into the bathroom, and the shower head was against the wall and with a drain in the middle of the floor in front of the toilet. I didn't quite know what to make of this at the time. I heard Mayna coming back upstairs and she helped me to get the internet working. She said that she would be back in the morning to pick me up, and I asked her if I could have my bags. She looked at me confused for a while and asked, "Bags?" I said, "Yes, I need my bags." So she was like, "Okay, no problem, see you." And then she walked out and she closed the door behind her. And I was standing there now even more confused than before. And I was wondering if I just got robbed. Did she not understand what I meant when I said I needed my bags? So I sat on the bed for a little bit and I just hoped that she would return. It felt like forever, but eventually she did make her way back to my room with my bags. I was so relieved. Now, all I wanted to do was take a nice hot shower and get into bed. Keep in mind, I had been traveling for so long, for I felt like 2 days. I was cold, I was tired, I was hungry. I was just feeling all sorts of not good. So the only thing I wanted was to just take a hot shower, put on something clean and warm and cozy, and just get into the bed and sleep and just shut down, because I had been through enough already. Now, before I could do any of that, I had to remove the plastic wrap from my luggage bags, which is something we do in South Africa. When you fly somewhere, you can wrap your bags because they steal your stuff. They would cut open your bags and steal your stuff. So we wrap them. So I had to unwrap this, but it's so tightly wrapped. There's so much plastic. I had no knife or scissors or anything. So it took me quite a while to unwrap my bags. And then when I finally did, I got ready for my shower. Except there was no hot water. There wasn't even warm water. And I felt like this night was just turning into a disaster. So I just decided to go straight to bed and I would worry about the rest in the morning. Now, a little side note, I would actually stay in this little hotel a few more times during the next year. And it did, in fact, have hot water. What I didn't know that specific night was I just had to turn on the hot water, the tap, and just let it run. And eventually the water would have been hot. So I just should have been a little more patient that first night. But at that time, I just figured there's no hot water. I'm just going to go sleep. I'm tired. I'm so done. So I just felt like this whole entire trip has just been exhausting from start to end. And I was overwhelmed. I just needed this whole trip thing to just end. And I went to bed and I just hoped that when I woke up the next morning, things would start to look up a little bit.